assuming that a lot of you have been introduced to Zen Bitch Slap or just extremely bored, one or the other, but I'm going to assume the first one, Zen Bitch Slap. And so if you've heard the talks, I hope you have a sense of the distinction we're trying to emphasize. And that is this little conundrum that if you start unknowingly, even though you feel like something other than the body, every feeling about what you are is framed as a body, yeah? And so starting from there, if you have a realization that the body is the obscuring factor, and then you decide to join a group and we chant, I'm not a body for 3 hours or 12, 3 days or whatever, it's a perfect illustration of what we're talking about, because the identification as the body will be the assumed chanter of not being a body, you see? So in a way, you can't go anywhere. And actually chanting that you're not a body is reinforcing the idea of the body. And so a lot of people are very, very direct, and they'll say there's no you, there's no body, there's nothing like that, which is true, but what's hearing it takes itself to be a body, yeah? So it neuters the message. The message doesn't get through because the message is you're not a body, which is true, but what's hearing it is a program pictured as a body. And without noticing that, you may believe that you're hearing it from your authentic self or whatever, spirit or whatever, but you're not. Yeah, that mental state is claiming it and is framing or catching the message as a body. Yeah. So, or you can hear that you're not the doer, but you're hearing it from the framing of being a doer. Yeah. You see the dilemma there? It doesn't work because it immediately runs into like a roadblock. Yeah, because you're wanting to when you're trying to entertain the fact, it may really resonate that you are not the doer, but it's being entertained by the doer. Yeah. And so the only way the doer can see it's not a doer is by doing itself out of the doer. Yeah. In a weird way, yeah? So what's being negated by you're not the doer is by how it's heard is it's reinforcing the exact negation, but in a weird way, yeah? So you're reinforcing that which you would like to destroy, in a sense. Yeah, the idea of being the doer. So Ramana has it so perfectly in a lot of his, and actually better than the way I say it, but I don't have any more books. I can't go back to different ways he said it. But the one that I got stuck with came out of a little booklet called Erase the Ego. I got when I was in India, like 2001. And on this one page, he says something that I saw in other writings about his teachings. And it was this idea of a presupposing, and it's very important, the use of the words, yeah? A presupposing of a non-existent thing. What is being supposed of that non-existent thing? That it exists, yeah? That it exists independent, inherently of its own juice, yeah? The sense of self to me is a feeling of being a long-lasting, independent, separate entity, a thing, yeah? So there's a presupposing that the non-existent thing, the body, is an existing thing. And then wanting to get salvation for the existent thing when the salvation would be from the existent thing, really. And the salvation from the existent thing is inherently available because it's a non-existent thing, yeah? So the one requirement we have on salvation is from it, let's say, but if it's from a non-existent thing, then the salvation is readily available at all times with no requirement to meet it, because the only block was a non-existent thing. So it goes, all right, so and so the presupposing is trippy because, and you know, it doesn't, you don't need to see it, but it's fun to me. Yeah, because you may not have the eyes to see it, so we'll make some glasses for you so you'll see it as if you had the eyes to see it. Yeah, that's what an understanding can be helpful around. Yeah, you can sort of be like an optometrist and make a certain pair of glasses that will be able to see the duality, and then you'll have a whack of the non-duality. Yes, you'll see duality, and then you'll see the negation of that, which is non-duality, really. Yeah. So we're just trying to do we're grinding the lenses. Yeah. Yeah. It's not a bifocal, it's a unifocal. Yeah. It's here, not here, but we're grinding it in. And so this presupposing, supposing means just like Amelia and I, we assume a lot of stores are open when they're not open. So we don't call the store, we just drive down there, assuming it's open, and then we're surprised when it's not open. Now the kids, Amelia's kids aren't, because they've gone through this about 30 times when their mom assumes something is open, like the pool, and it isn't open. But you know what I mean? So there's an assuming or a supposing of something. Yes? So in this moment, there is something that arises in time that claims what's happening. And it uses that claiming of what's happening to suppose or imply it's happening to someone, or someone is doing the happening. Yes? And so the supposing comes after the contact. So consciousness is in contact, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, all this stuff. And then as that contact occurs, the mental state arises after, and then claims that which has been in contact through consciousness to imply or to suppose or to presuppose that what is conscious is the thing. Yeah, the non-existent thing that's assumed to be existing. So the thing, the idea of being the thing is a product of the claiming of what's happening. Yeah. And then when it happens, it's presupposed to be before what's happening, and therefore it sees itself. It doesn't see itself. It believes that it's before everything. So either shit's happening to it or it's doing the shit. Yeah. So it's now in a position of ownership of shit it has nothing to do with. Yeah, you could see how this could go off the rails pretty easy. And while it's off the rails, its attempts to get back on the rails is a bigger off the rails. See, this is the little dilemma. If you try to get out of a non-existent thing, you're giving it an existence it doesn't have. Yeah. See, the power that we represent, you can't take it out of the equation. It's in the equation. Yeah. So when we are reality, and when reality takes something that's unreal to be real, it's wanting to get out of it is giving it more reality than the fucking thing deserves. Yeah. So the greatest way to escape an imaginary place is seeing that it's imaginary. There's no need to escape. That's the escape. Yeah. That's the message. So the message is, if those statements imply a sort of taste, yeah, or a feeling or an intimacy, I hope that what you are knows, yeah. And then what you do is, through talks, you give warnings of how what you're not will regroup, and how what you're not will keep on claiming, even though you thought it got the knockout punch, it immediately resurrects from the being on the ring mat, and then it's on again. Yeah. Yeah. So the idea, and the funny thing is, it always seems to be able to rebound as long as you are there. So you have something to do with it, definitely. Literally. So you want to knock that thing out, but you want to be there to enjoy the knockout. That's not knocking it out. Yeah. It's playing both. It's playing George Foreman and Muhammad Ali and the referee. Yeah. Any position in the ring is not it. Yeah. Any position. It's not it. That's the beauty of seeing what you're not. Yeah. Whatever position coagulates, you can be sure you're not that. That's just like the golden rule. You can be sure you're not that. There's not one moment you're going to crystallize and stabilize and take on a physicality and be all that there is. It's not going to happen. So. So the message is simple. All right, what I found, what I saw was the speed of the mental states claiming. And by looking at it, I realized there's no process that we could do in the world in time that's going to beat that process. Yeah. So I found you're not going to meditate yourself out of the meditator, the sense of being the meditator. It's not, I don't think it can happen. Yeah. Because the sense of being the meditator is produced so quick, much quicker than all the hours of meditation. Yeah. So when your ass isn't even on the cushion, and there's a pre-assumption that it's you sitting there to meditate. Yes, there is. It's pretty damn fast. So basically, you're at a it doesn't take 13 hours to reach you. It doesn't. It doesn't take a contrived circumstance and situation in 3 weeks of lousy food and terrible accommodations, unless you're in like some of the places I went to, we used to call them the upper middle way. They're very high end, very nice, like a vacation spot called a retreat. But let's say a retreat in Thailand and shit, you're getting like a soup once a day. No one talks English. You're there 13 hours. Kids are throwing rocks on your little kuti, your little room. There's no peace at all in the temple. There's dogs. Every time any bell rings, the dogs go off, like moaning like from hell. There's airplanes flying over. There's basically no external peace. Why would it take so long to arrive at where you already are? If you've come to non-duality, you must believe or have a sense of something rings true with those statements that you are what you're looking for. Yeah, you must. Or you're barking up the wrong tree with non-duality. Yeah. Or the seeker is the sought. Or you heard something from Huang Po and he just threw out a little line that you skimmed over, but you've gone back to, and it's like whatever can be perceived can't be perceiving. What? That just negated the whole narration that I've been listening to for 60-something years, because the narration is the body it's picturing itself as is what's perceiving. Yet it was just cut completely off. It wasn't like, all right, we're going to have to go in that narration and cut out the bad, emphasize the good, only remember nice memories, forget about the traumas, all this bullshit. He just cut it off with like just one little machete swing. Whatever can be perceived can't be perceiving. Yeah. Now that if something like that triggers a response in you, you're open to non-duality in a sense, because non-duality is before the first moment of a spiritual journey. It's before that. Yeah. And the first step in time of a spiritual journey is just an obscuring agent to you are what you're looking for. Yeah. If you are what you're looking for, then looking for it would obviously not work. Yes. Yes. it wasn't like the line wasn't, you are what you're looking for and get looking for it. You know, it wasn't like a command, get looking for it. It says, what's looking is what you're looking for. So end of the looking for, because what you're looking for is what's looking. Yeah. So why would you want to use what you're looking for to find what you're looking for? Yeah. Why? It makes no sense if you are that. If you don't believe it, then it makes total sense. I'm going to concentrate and focus and just try to block out. I'm just striving to get to that Buddha field of no thought. Yeah. Though that's a thought in and of itself, but let's forget that. So we're going to do this. That's fine and dandy. But if you slip the message of non-duality, and that's like you slip on that little idea, basically your journey the spiritual journey is going to be disrupted, obviously, because that gets put into question immediately. Yeah, you go, wait a minute. If I try to build a raft, a spiritual raft, to arrive at the other shore, yeah, and then when I arrive at the other shore, on having never left, why do I need to build a raft? Yeah, why? I built the raft because I thought I was somewhere and I needed to go across something to get to where I wanted to go. But if I make it over to the other shore, I immediately have the realization on having never left. That's how I arrived at the other shore. Yeah. So basically, is the raft needed? Really? I just don't see the value in it anymore, because the other shore is right where I am. So I left one shore to get to the other shore, and the shore I wanted to arrive at was whatever shore I was at. Yeah. So you must be what you're looking for, not the shore. Yeah. So arriving somewhere and having the vehicles arrive somewhere, the idea of that gets muted when you are already there. Yeah. Why would I call up an Uber to get a ride to my own house when I'm in the house? Yeah. It would make no sense. Now, it makes a lot of sense if I really believe I'm in a house, but it's not really my house. I thought if it was my house, everything would be great. I'd be totally stabilized. Nothing would ever bother me in my house. So I'm going to call up the spiritual Uber to take me to my house, which is just a freaking another conceptual fairyland. Yeah. And in fact, right where you are is right where it is. Yeah. If not, that's not non-duality. Yeah. Non-duality is just a negation of a negation of the dualistic system that leads us to believe that we are not where we are. It leads us to believe that we've been displaced and we have to return from the source that somehow we broke away from, and maybe feel terrible about it or feel like something did that. Yeah. And therefore we want to have that reunion with that. That's not the message. Yeah. I had this thing we were sharing it a couple weeks ago. It was in Oz. It was in Byron Bay. I picked up some hitchhiker and she told me about this event that was going to happen. I liked the lady, so I said, "Oh, talk to me more." She showed me a brochure, and that's the first time I saw the statement from St. Francis: "What's looking is what you're looking for." So I went and I talked to the people and I signed up. And the next day I was in a group of like 150 people with all these people serving that I didn't know any of them. They were all Rajneesh people, Osho people. So I stayed there the 8 days, and every day they'd have this event that would produce cathartic events. Yeah, they'd have music playing. They'd have these people all around the walls, not saying anything, just holding the space, which was very cool. And they had mattresses, and everything would be going off, crying, going through, cathartic events. And so one of the cathartic events that occurred with me is I started crying, just unbelievable. And I kept saying, I can never get back. I can never get back. I can never get back. Yeah. Oh, I can never get back. Like something, I've been separated from source and I can never get back. Yeah. And it was super sweet. And everyone looked at me as, oh, what a wonderful fucking realization this guy's having. Let's take him, let's put him in the first place, you know? And yet, a couple years later, I realized why I can never get back, because I never left. Yeah. Now, the realization I never left wasn't that romantic. It wasn't that exciting. I couldn't write blogs about it. Yeah. I wouldn't look great with my my community. Oh, I finally returned to where I thought I could never get back to. I never left. Let's move on from that. I never left. What? Yeah. That's why I can't get back. I can't get back because I never left. This is what we hope to sort of convey in these talks. Yeah. If it works for you, it's not just, hopefully it doesn't work for you, really. Hopefully it reveals all of your ways of trying to get it fail. Yeah. Like left with your own devices, hopefully you'll see they're not your devices. But if you fervently don't believe this, why stick with it? Yeah? Why stick in non-duality? Non-duality isn't to make you bummed out and a nihilist or an fucking, that's the mental state using it and turning it into something. Non-duality is nothing. It's a fact. Yeah. You can arrive at it by seeing what isn't a fact that was assumed to be one, really. Yeah. So it seems like you go into duality and then arrive at non-duality, but when you arrive there, it's totally clear you had never left ever. Yeah, it is. It's totally clear you have never left. So the whole believing in what we believe in is imaginary. It's seemingly so. It's appearing to be true to us. Yeah, it doesn't have a lick of truth in it at all. It appears to be true to us. Yeah, and its appearance there's a lot of huffing and puffing to keep blowing up this fucking plastic doll all day. A lot of huffing and puffing, and we don't even have enough breath to get past like 90 years. Yeah, it's gonna exhaust and just collect the whole little action figure doll is just gonna shrivel up because there'll be no more breath given to it. Yeah, and it'll be like nothing ever happened. Really, it'll be like nothing ever happened. Just like when you go to sleep tonight. It'll be like nothing ever fucking happened. Yeah. Just like 2 days ago seems like it never happened. Like 5 minutes ago seems like it never happened. Yes. And definitely next week definitely doesn't seem like it's happening. Yeah. So basically this, we're putting like tails on imaginary comets. Yeah. Just putting on tails through imaginary comets. We're the space it's all fucking firing in. We are that. We're the screen that allows any kind of movie to be played on it. Yet it's never affected by any of the movies. It's not crying. Well, first of all, if it had a romantic comedy, it would never be provoked to laugh anyway. They all suck, usually. They're not funny, usually. But I mean, let's say an army movie would blow holes in but the screen doesn't get blown up, does it? A really tearjerker, the screen isn't wet, is it? Yet without the screen, how would the movie appear? How would it appear without the screen? Without the light of our mind dreaming, how could this be projected? Yeah? As the Course in Miracles says, it's projection, not perception. Perception is the secondary effect. It's projection first. That's dreaming. And then there's a perceiving of the dreaming from a dreamt. Yes? An identification as the body. And because this believes it's real, it gives reality to the projection. But it's dreaming. It's dreaming, dreaming, dreaming. It's a projection of mind. Yes? And then that mind, to live in the dreaming, has to become seemingly identified as a body or a dreamt. Yeah? And then it sees the dream it's having as real can be. Yeah. Thank God it gets a break every night and goes into another crazy realm of dreaming. and then comes back to your wake dream and thinks it's real again. Yeah, but there's so many holes you see through, don't you? Really? How can something that you christened as the worst thing that ever happened to you, in a few years can be seen as the best thing that happened to you? You see that there is no inherent meaning to anything other than what's given it, right? You do. I mean, we're not 2 levels below a coconut. We can observe what's going on. We can observe that time seems to go really slow when I'm doing something I hate, yeah? If I'm surfing or something, it goes super fast. What do you think? Time speeds up? Just, you know what I mean? It's part of the dreaming, yeah? It's like slowing down the wheels so there can be exquisite suffering about being stuck somewhere that you don't want to be stuck in for 8 more hours, yeah? Or speeding up the wheels so that you can forget a miracle in a half an hour and then just remember resentment of 40 years, yes? It's kaleidoscopic, and what's dreaming is unbelievable. So basically, it seems as real can be, but it seems as real can be. It's not as real can be. We are as real can be. We, not the body, but what we are, yeah? So reality can make things seem to be real, yeah? But they can never be real because there's only reality, yes? And reality is not of 2, it's not of 1, it just is. Yeah. So I hope, in a way, if you've been following us for years, why? No. I hope at least the direction we're attempting to communicate has been set, like the horse in front of the cart, yeah? Just a certain sense of what we are is of a timeless nature, and what we are not is of a mental nature, yeah? A time-based nature. So what we are is always prior to what we're not, yeah? There's no what you're not when it's presupposed to be before. It is not before. It's just presupposed to be before. We are always the before, always. Nothing comes before us. We are always the before. So whatever you see, whatever formulates or coagulates as a stable idea or image is not you. It's just that simple, yeah? And why would you want to spend any more time trying to convince not you that it's not you? Yeah, just see it from what you are. You don't need to convince what you're not. What you're not is of limited understanding. What you're not is already got a pre-formatted package. What you're not has ceilings. It can't go some places. It can't, yeah? It's quite limited because it's constructed of time and of things. So anytime it thinks of no time and no thing, it's framed as in time and thing. It can't help itself, yeah? It sees everything from its own system. It can't help itself. And it's not going to go against the primary programming. It truly believes it can get out of this self. Self believes it can get out of self. It has objectified what we're calling self, and it believes as a subject it's going to leave it, yeah? It's impossible. Self can't get out of self. To waste time trying to convince it that it can't doesn't go anywhere. It's going to keep on trying. It's going to, if it runs into a wall and it says it completely super clear in like 80 different languages, self can't get out of self, it's going to pull back, just get in another vehicle and ram in again, and it's going to pull back, and it's just keep going to go, yeah? So why can't self get out of self? First of all, there isn't one, yeah? That's why, yeah? In this dualistic world, there needs to be an in to get out of. If there's no in, you can't get out, yeah? I tried with drugs. And I mean, I gave it a damn good shot. I try to get what I called in. I try to get out of there constantly. And I was always super pissed. It never seemed to work. I didn't realize I can't get in. I can't get out of what I'm not in. I didn't realize it until I did. Yeah. And we're just trying to share it. It's such a beautiful, seamless, it really is. And yeah. So, all right. I think, yes, let's go. Let's go to the Hollywood Squares. Let's see. We have the first thing is to Jane. Jane, who starred in the famous science fiction movie from 2001, A Little Hint, I'll Be Back. No. And The Terminator. Yes, oh, whatever. All right, so let's go. There's a question.
Yeah, Mary's first. Go ahead, Mary.
Mary, but then Mary shall be last.
The first shall be last. Hi, Paul.
Hey, Mary.
Oh, Paul. Yeah, I've been sober 30 years and doing the course for like 15 with great, great commitment and desperation. Huh? And I'm listening to you, and so my question is like, there's got to be a part of me that gets it. Yeah? Like I feel that resonance with what you're saying, and it aligns with the course and so many of the teachings that I am drawn to. But I guess, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
I just wanted to find your square. I just found it.
Yeah. But it's like when you say just see what you're not.
Yes.
I mean, I'm wondering if what's seeing what I'm not is what I'm not also. Like, can I trust?
Yes, you just caught its second appearance. That's great.
What? Okay.
Yeah, so it's usually a big deal to see it the first appearance, but then they don't realize the second appearance is also self. So now you've seen the second ring. That's pretty good. Just keep going.
Keep going. So when you talk about like downloads, yeah. So I know that there's downloads in this, like, anyway, whatever. I trust that. But then there'll be these big backlashes, or maybe that's it's like, Jesus, my body is just aching all the time, and yeah, like a lot of maybe a backlash to the downloads.
Yeah, well, one system doesn't like to be showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good sign in a way, because when it's comfortable, yeah, that's when it has you totally blanketed, really. So it's when something starts to occur to irritate it, then you can see it, yeah? So you never will see that second, there's not a second, but let me just share it that way. So then you recognize the camera went back a little bit, and you see the self, yeah? Yes? And then there's a certain suspicion that what's claiming to see the self may be a self also. So now you've seen the second one. Without seeing the first one, the second one would never have shown up. Yeah? This is the beauty of it. So the first one, you recognize it, it brings up the second one out of the weeds. Yeah? Yeah. So now you recognize that. Now the aperture opens up even more. Then you may see it arise again. Yeah? But this time, you usually see it as soon as it tries to put the suit on. Yeah. So you see the emperor with no clothes. Yeah. Now it's not necessary to go through seeing it appear anymore. You've caught it, yeah, in a sense. Yeah. It's usually not going to be caught at just recognizing the first self. The second one is pretty good. Yeah. And then maybe for me, it was about 5 or 6 of them. Yeah. And then there was like a quantum leap, or I like to use the 100th monkey phenomena story, where something was gotten and then it just went big. Yeah. So there was no need to be looking and giving the next appearance a new number, because it's all the same, like smoke and mirror, really. Yeah. But the funny thing is, without seeing the first one, the second one is not going to come up. You're not going to have any idea that it's cooking. Yeah. And of course, when the aperture opens, the system that likes the fixed aperture is probably going to throw a fit, you know? I mean, why wouldn't it? Yeah. It's not threatened by a lifelong spiritual process. Yes, it's threatened when its own irrelevance is coming into the light. Yeah. When its imaginariness is started to be noticed, that's a threat. That's a huge threat to it. Yeah. As long as you're busy trying to get out of it, it's happy as hell, because you've given it a reality it doesn't have. Yeah. So it doesn't even care. Yeah. You've had all the studying already, honey. Let it all be put together, and let the spirit of it all take over now. You don't need to help it. You'll be just observing it. You'll see it. Yeah. And you'll see it, and that echo will have a very heavy, a nice thickness, a nice sound, like an unspoken yes, reverberating. Yeah. And you're on to something. And I have faith in it. I have. So yeah. Don't try to, you don't need, this thing ignites itself. Your days of throwing a log on the fire are over. Yeah. Now just warm yourself at the fire.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Mike. Blue hand number 2.
Hey, put something under your feet, because we hear a lot of back.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Excited.
Okay.
I'm actually on a dead horse. On a dead horse that I got to get back on the saddle.
And muted, Luca.
What?
Hey, Paul.
Luca is unmuted.
Hi.
Luca.
Hi, Paul. I wanted to ask you something about what you started the talk with. I'm here. Can you see me? Yeah.
Yes.
You were speaking about the body, and I kind of get a sense from a lot of things that I've heard in terms of non-duality that there's still like a hue in some of it of like more, let's say, traditional spirituality. And what put me off that in the first place was, like years ago, was this kind of maybe like elevation of the formless over the form, as if it's like somehow better. Yeah. The whole, when you say, I've heard you say in talks also, like, there's no loving gaze here, there are no flowers, there's no stage, that kind of thing. So the one thing I don't get in what I've heard you say is when you say like that the body is an obscuring agent, that kind of thing. Do you mean like the identification with it, or to see it as like something like having an independent reality, that kind of thing? Is that what you?
It's the identification with it, but it's not your identification with it. Mm-hmm. It's an identification with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So it's and when there's a claiming of being the seer and the hearer and the feeler and the taster and the toucher, which has nothing to do with the body, it's framed as a body, yeah? See, I don't care, I have nothing about the body. What I have is the idea that from doing, the idea of a doer is extracted. From seeing, the idea of a seer is extracted. From hearing, the idea of a hearer. And all of that is suddenly pictured as a body, yeah? So it's, the body is given another role from the mental state's point of view, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the body as an action figure is fine and dandy to me. The body as the doer, the thinker, the hearer, the feeler, the taster, the toucher, the smeller, that doesn't work, yeah?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the sense of self is not of the body. The sense of self comes from the claiming of doing, seeing, hearing, think, all that stuff. All those verbings that are life, yeah? The claiming of them to imply there's a noun, and then the body is chosen in a weird way, or it becomes the symbol of that, yeah?
So like
so the body is now, yes,
sorry.
It's been given a role of, let's say, being the center of the universe,
Mm-hmm.
when that's not its seat assignment, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I'm attempting to, the body is, to me, is the accumulation of claiming pictured, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Like the mental state gives, pins the attributes of seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, thinking, all this onto the body, yeah? So it's making it something. The mental state is making it something other than what it is, yeah? Yeah, that's what I like to see. The body is not, the body is neutral, yes, in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah, so yeah.
Okay, thanks.
But symbolizes, it's how things, see, when you're remembered as a doer, you're pictured as a body, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Like in the thought, in the memories. The memory, it's not remembering you as a body, it's really remembering you as the doer, the one who had the vacation, yes, the seer, the hearer, the feeler, the taster, the toucher. But all of that is represented with an image of a body, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You see? So the body is sort of like the mental state puts a ton of weight into a half-ton pickup, yeah? It's too much for the apparatus to hold, yes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I see it. There's nothing, the body is not for or against anything, yeah? It's just a functioning, but there's been a lot of meaning given to it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Luca. I'm unmuting John now.
Luca, are you from Italy?
My dad's Italian, my mom's German.
All right, where are you right now?
I'm in England.
Oh, in England, wow.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Who's
Hi,
this
Paul.
crazy dude? Nico, the Zen mother. All right, who's the next one? John?
Hi, Paul.
I'm gonna try.
I'm in recovery, and I know that you're doing the other series, the reflection, and I'm 10 months in, and it's been, my recovery has been, my addiction took me to, I had a serious addiction, so I needed a serious program to kind of combat that, and my recovery is going incredibly well. And to me, in a sense, having the 12 steps almost gives you an unfair advantage in terms of understanding non-duality and understanding, that sense of a higher power or something outside yourself. I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts or comments. So, you know, in addiction, it's about putting a substance in your body to change your mood and, you know, to escape from reality. So I've been on, or, you know, the role of antidepressants, I guess, is also to change reality. And so you know, I've had a period of 7 years, and I've just cut them down to 0 now. So I've had 2 weeks without any antidepressants, and you know, it's a really slow process to get them off, to get off them. And you know, I guess my expectation was, and it's come true, is that you know, reality feels amazing, and you know, it seems that antidepressants just puts a soft focus lens over the aperture. And you know, I just wondered if, you know, that's been your sort of experience with others, or that prescribed medication can actually, you know, add another filter that prevents you from, you know, movement towards non-duality, or, you know, is another barrier to you know, growth or whatever.
Well, I've never taken any medication, but I've worked with a lot of people. Yeah. And, you know, in duality, in a sense, there's always going to be a payoff cost. Yeah. So the payoff is maybe you won't kill yourself, but the cost is you're not going to feel fucking much. Yeah. You know what I mean? And, what I found with a lot of prescribed medications, it's harder to get off of that than, you know, street drugs, really. And you have to take another medication to get off the first one, and then you got to take a third to get off. You know what I mean? And it's a very, it's like once you step on the flypaper, every move after incites the flypaper. Yeah. So the best thing, I think, I always have a lot of respect for people who've weaned themselves off it, and maybe they can stay in abstinence where they don't have to go there anymore. Yeah. And of course, the action figure, we were talking in England in a joke, and they call it clear film, but we call it saran wrap in America. But a lot of these drugs act almost like a muffler. Yeah. So they muffle the sense of onness in a way, the consciousness. They don't do consciousness, but they muffle the sense of it. You feel like you're drugged out. You know? You feel like you're out to lunch. You feel like you've got a cloth over your face. Yeah. Yeah, it's everyone's on something, you know. It's amazing. It's really an incredible event here. And I was talking to a lady doing another interview for some recovery thing today. I should look into it before I say yes, because I have no idea what they're doing, but I just did it. And we were talking about the addiction. To me, the real addiction is the mental's addiction to the idea of being the doer, the thinker, the feeler, the seer, and stuff like that. And really, when you said change reality, you were changing a reality, not the reality. The reality doesn't change, but what we're taking to be real can change by just taking some pills or putting on some sunglasses. Yeah, that can be altered, but what is can't be altered by any of our little shenanigans. And thank God, really. So yeah, I'm all for it, bro. Stick with it. The action figure, it's like, if let's say if someone woke up and they were diabetic, would they stop shooting insulin? No. Yeah. The diabetes is of the body. Yeah. Alcoholism is of the brain and body. And you need a way of life, because the action figure is in a structure of time. Things change, lots of shit happens, more shit happens, and on and on and on and on and on. And for some of us, we need a way of life. Yeah. We need some sound principles so that the GPS the old GPS of the action figure can get upgraded to another GPS, yeah? And we call that upgrade the higher power, so to speak. Yeah, so for me, in my sense, when I started to use drugs and alcohol, I had magnetic appeal to people in uniform, like very fast. I attracted so much shit you couldn't believe. I mean, to get run over once is pretty difficult, but run over twice in the same night by the same car is a fucking unbelievable chore. And that was just one of thousands of things that happened, yeah? And so it behooved this action figure to get a new GPS, definitely. And because it's always on the move, I can't go in a garage that long. I'm living, you know? So I need a way of life, and AA's been that way of life for me. So I've entertained 32 years just recently, and that which needed to be corrected has been corrected, yeah? Yes? And so, in other words, what was blocking the fuel injection line of the Toyota has been cleaned, yeah?
Yeah.
Some new spark plugs were put in, some new tires. It's running pretty good. I wouldn't use it to be the first float of a great parade, but to get to places, to jump in water, to do this, to do that, it's just perfect, yeah.
I think there's just an acceptance that using antidepressants, for example, is okay. And I think in the work that you're talking about here, you don't want any potential distractions or disruptions to what could be, the download. So,
well, if you can, but see, sometimes, in the world of the action figure, there's taxes to pay, and sometimes you have to rent the Caesars what Caesars. So I had a woman who was in the program with me, and we were house painters. We had a company, and she was my major relationship. I was with her more than anyone else. And for these first 5 years, she was an angry mofo sometimes. She would flip out, throw brushes and shit like that. Then she tried to kill herself. It didn't succeed, and they put her on Prozac. And I'll tell you, she was a nicer person to work with after that. So my old ideas had to be changed because that was an upgrade for her. Something that helped her, yeah. So I don't know, it can go a lot of different ways, but the optimum to me is abstinence. No mood altering anything, yeah. Drugs, alcohol, yeah, maybe some coffee and stuff, or a nice raw dessert if cocoa's still there. But basically pretty much abstinence from all that, yeah. Yeah, and the beautiful thing now is you can get established in never starting any of that shit, so you won't have to have thousands of skillful means to stop, yeah? You just won't start, which is a beautiful state. Beautiful state. There's nothing you need to do there, yeah? There's no need for skillful means. You're not starting, yeah? You're sober, and that's that, yeah? And you're free of the antidepressants. That's great. So thanks, John. Mike? Mike, anyone here? No?
What? What did you say?
Anyone else? No? I was
see your
asking
hand.
if anyone is. Oh, great. That's great. I'll just stare. I'm going to practice my loving gaze. Hold on.
Okay. Oh, our friend James just raised his hand.
All right. Sweet. James.
I unmuted you, James. Whoops. You disappeared.
James, are you in the room next door to my room? James, are you in the room next door to my room? I'm getting worried. It's like that horror movie. He's in the house.
Inside the house. I'm
He's in there.
Yeah, that's all I wanted was to get on and goof a little. No, I tell you, yeah, I did just want to share that I could relate to the person who was talking about recovery and the Course in Miracles, and I really chewed on that stuff a bunch as what I'm not. You know what I mean? And I really credit a lot of it started with listening to Paul's videos, but these sessions have really helped me sort of obtain a little bit more of that third person view of James. And I kind of feel like A Course does the same thing as the videos do. It talks to you so much that something gets through, but it's really one little thing. That's all it's trying to say is one little thing over. I don't know how many pages that book is, but you know, you can take 5 years. It's still trying to say just that one. It's just trying to get that one sperm through. Just that,
yes.
or that one pair of shoes that fits. And these deals really help. I don't know how. It's like when the urge to drink disappeared. It was like I likened it to a headache going away. You don't know really when it disappears. You just know that it's not there anymore. And
Yeah.
a little bit of what Paul's talking about for me is like that. Some of this stuff I just noticed isn't there anymore. Or the sine waves have gotten a lot more.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm talking on topic or not, but I just want a chance. It's just so cool to be able to share with you guys so much. I'm getting all perclamped now.
Hey, James, maybe we're attempting artificial semination.
I think we are.
Yeah.
Well, you know, all I can come up are with probably not appropriate things to share in mixed company, but I just think that there's a lot of potential for t-shirts with that stuff, you know, that particular metaphor.
Well, I'll tell you, the spiritual sperm, you got to have the right audience for that to work.
Well, you know, I just decided that it was like
certain events. It didn't go well. No.
I just decided to let it happen, man. You know.
The person, it doesn't hit them until they leave. Then you can hear them talking about it. What the fuck did that guy say? I never heard those two words together. Spiritual sperm.
It was just one of the things that worked for me. You know what I mean? Like you would never hear Rupert Spira talk about spiritual sperm or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when I started listening to your videos, it was like, okay, this is a voice that speaks in language that I can understand.
Yes, it's
I don't know what that says about me, but I'm just telling you, you know that.
Well, we appreciate you a lot, James.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. I have to stay up late for this, so I'm a little over caffeinated. Sorry.
We really, really appreciate you. It's you're almost like a live member of a Zoom.
Yeah, you guys have become my community.
We're at a live meeting. I miss the live meeting fellowship sometimes with this.
I just talked to a guy that's going back to AA meetings now, which I think is a little premature, to be honest with you. But I live in Florida, where it's like I don't even want to start about that. But the whole thing is, like if this ends, I'll miss it.
Oh, it's not going to end until I come on and there's no one in any of the squares. All I see is me. That's probably I'll end it then.
All right, I was on the verge of getting well, but I'm gonna not get completely well.
Please.
So yeah,
yeah. Just have compassion on the messenger.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's why we try to emphasize the humor. Yeah, I mean, the humor is the humor you can come back for. Yeah.
Well, it's not funny when you're stuck in the middle of that little.
Where are you going to hear about spiritual sperm? The whole way of shitting fans, divine proctologist. I mean, you're not going to get this at
Pooper Scooper.
Pooper Scooper, for sure. All this, yeah. You're not going to get it. Yeah.
I do think you need I do think you need a vase with a little tulip or some little flower though there or something, but whatever. You don't have, it's okay. I'm not
Yeah,
judging.
we got a lot of fun. Yeah. Well, listen, there is a suggestion box at the end, at the end of the talk. I never see them, but yeah, just you can put them in.
You don't read them.
No, no.
Does Mike read them?
All right, James. It's good to see you. Mike
Yeah,
read
I
it,
guess so.
yeah.
All right.
That's why we got him to stop tapping his foot, because somebody did email
I've been doing that. Like, that's post-traumatic cocaine use. Yeah.
Before I sign off, I was watching one.
It's Shakti. Shakti's running through my left leg, or it's restless leg syndrome. I don't know which. I'll say it's Shakti.
We paused one of your videos and started staring at your leg once. My daughter was like, because I used to keep you on a loop on Saturday, and she'd be like, "Oh, Paul," she'd walk by. But I was like, "Oh, check out his leg," because I'd never really seen it, And you were wearing shorts, and so we paused it, and so it's kind of creepy, I know, but we've done shit like that.
Yes. Well, I'm going to move on with that.
Yeah, right.
I'm not going to start showing you my scars and my legs.
They're there on your videos.
Yeah, all right, let's go, James.
Good night, James. Thank you.
If no one has any questions, I'm just going to look at everybody. Yeah? Let's see.
Phoenix,
Chantel, am I saying?
Phoenix has his hand up. He had his hand up before.
Oh, Phoenix, all right.
Or she. Phoenix, is that city or?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Joyce looks very comfortable. Oh, Phoenix, all right. Phoenix, how are you?
Good, man. How are you? Well, I know you're well.
Good.
I've been listening to you. Hi. Been listening to you on YouTube for probably a year or so, and studied Vedanta for a while, and I never found anything that resonated so much. But, Jesus Christ, man, the addiction to the mental state sucks. And as you mentioned earlier, the mental state is just making something. If you become a nihilistic or depressed, the mental state is just making something of the message, which is like, how do you get relief from this mental state? I mean, there's nothing it can do to get relief from itself. So
no, but you definitely will get relief from it for sure, because it's our interest in it that gives it its weight and light. Yeah. It's almost like the power of projection. The projection is based on the light. We are the light, let's say. And the mental state is sort of setting up a situation where attention and interest is drawn to this idea, and then that light is used to project the idea. Yeah. When you lose interest in the you, the light gets withdrawn. Yeah. So the projection can't go as far and can't last as long. Yeah. It weakens. It weakens it. So now the interest and attention, instead of being enslaved to that idea of projecting this story, it's now here to enrich your day and maybe other people's day. Yeah.
Well, I mean, something's always projected, right? I mean,
yes, of course. With the dreaming, all there is dreaming. Yes, but there's there's a lot of holes in the dreaming. A lot of holes. Yeah, and the mental state just jumps over them and forgets. But the eroding of its own platform is constantly there. Yeah. In other words, it constantly has to paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. Yeah, it's exhausting, really. Yeah.
So who or what is
dreaming? So if you lose interest,
who or what is dreaming? Who or what is dreaming?
Mind is dreaming, yeah. And then we're cast as a dreamt, yes. So mind forgets its dreaming by seemingly being identified as the dreamt, yeah. And that's how the dreaming is given a reality or a real meaning. That's why when you lose interest in the dreamt, yeah, then the reality that's being lent to the dreaming is shifted, yeah? Yes. So then the meaning that's been given to the dreaming gets withdrawn, and a lot of that meaning rests in what, yeah? That's the sense of presence, so to speak. If this isn't a tactile sense of onness, it's not gonna, it turns into a sense feltness, yeah? There's an intimation, like a tactile intimation of nothing, let's say. That can only come to the surface by interest and attention, yeah? It's always there, but by interest and attention, it can really seem to be here, yeah? It's always there, but it doesn't matter. A lot of people, it doesn't matter it's always there. There's an unawareness of it, yeah? But when the attention and interest leaves the preoccupation of what you're not, then it's here to sort of rub against that which is always here, you know, to sense it.
So the problem then is, I know that what I'm not is trying to wrestle with the message and make it into and try to, as you say, losing interest is interest. Trying to lose interest is interest.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the conundrum you can't get out of.
Well, that's beautiful, because if you can't get out of, it's going to finally lead to entertaining, am I in? And when you see the getting out, the real information is, are you in? Yeah, the in. When the in comes under suspicion, there's no opposite of that. Yeah. The in has the opposite of out, but before the in, there's no in and out. Yeah. So the peace is before the bondage. The peace. The peace that comes after the bondage is going to lead to another sense of bondage and peace and bondage and peace, yeah? But the peace before all understanding has no dualistic, it's not a dualistic slinky. There just is, yes? There's no opposite here.
Right.
There's no acquiring and losing. There's no finding and losing. There's no arriving and departing. None of that's going on. It's the idea of the reality of the in produces a movement to get out, which is that's the slinky, yeah? This message cuts that off. You're not in. There's no need to get out. So the dualistic engine, which needs that first little oomph to get going, isn't being given that oomph, yes? You're the oomph. When you believe you're in something, that's the oomph of the drive to get out. And then when the out, there's the old gravitational pull of the belief you're in something. And then the wanting to get out, yeah? Without you oomph, that slinky doesn't go. You see it, but it's totally, it doesn't have, it's not dragging any of you with it, yeah? Because you're before it. You're not, there's no in and out in what we are, yeah? So there's a triggering of the triggering of wanting to get out is a believing you're in. Now, trying to stop, all right, I'm gonna not try to get out, doesn't fucking work. Seeing that you're not in works, yeah? When there's a belief you're in something, and then you try to use a philosophy that says, well, there's no need to get out and you're really fucked, but you're just holding on to this conceptual idea, that doesn't work. That not being in works, yeah? Because the engine doesn't get started, yeah?
In other words, a non-conceptual seeing is what you're saying, sounds like.
Of course. Or it's the seeing of concepts.
Yeah.
seeing of concepts isn't conceptual, no. It's not as far as you think. It's not as far away as we think.
No, I can clearly see.
There, it's so here that we don't see it in a way. Yeah, that's the joy of being the butt of the joke, really.
Right. Having never left where I am, I thus never arrive where I'm not.
Exactly, and therefore, you know, there's no packing involved. That's the thing. That which is agitated can't produce stillness. It's more agitation, like it says in a famous Zen treatise called Faith Mind. You can't use activity to produce stillness. That would be activity. Yeah. So what's one to do? I don't know. See it. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice to see you, friend. Thanks for the talk. Thanks for the questions.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
our Joyce wants to make up for not asking a question last week. She has her hand up. I'm unmuting you, Joyce.
You encouraged me, Paul.
Okay.
Um,
You're like you could be seen maybe as a questionaholic, so you never make it 2 weeks without a question.
I've been very good. I haven't asked anything. It's a setup anyway. I kind of know what you're going to say, and it's not going to be good. But okay, I'm here on lockdown.
We love you, Joyce. We love you, Joyce. Anyone who was swimming in the same lake as I was in North Carolina. Yeah.
Well, I was swimming recently in the ocean, and I got beat up by a wave really bad, and I can't walk now. My lower back is really screwed up.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here, you know, weeks without being able really to move much, and also on lockdown and everything else. So instead of enjoying this time, I'm worried that I'm not doing enough. You were at the tat retreats. That's where I met you. And at the tat retreat, people go into these cabins and they don't eat and they meditate 23 out of 24 hours and something happens. So in my years ago, I tried I mean, I guess I just don't have the will anymore.
Of course something's going to happen. If you sit 23 hours, something's going to happen, yeah.
What?
If you don't sit 23 hours, something's going to happen.
Anyway, I'm going back and forth. It might be my Catholic background. But I feel like it's hopeless to do anything. But if I'm not doing something, I feel like I should because I got the time. I've gone around the world for
do something, honey Joyce, maybe do something that hasn't been given so much meaning. You know what I mean?
You always tell me to watch Netflix.
Watch Netflix, you know, just do something, but don't something that you haven't given much meaning to. But the spiritual way is like a minefield to you, really. Yeah?
Yeah.
There's been a lot of importance buried under the ground, and then you've got to step gingerly or you're going to blow yourself up by not doing enough again or something. Yes?
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. I'm on a call. I'll be right there. Yeah, I mean, the good thing in all this is that I really I'm not motivated anymore, which is what you've been trying to get me to do forever. Well, now it's worked.
Great. Fantastic. Why not let it just go that way? See what happens. What's going to come up is old ideas, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. The why nots and you shouldn't, they're going to show themselves. They're not you. Why not sort of let them come into the light and get reconfigured? They're not serving you anymore, eh?
Yeah, I just wish I had more peace about it. I guess that's it. And I can't make that happen.
Well, just maybe ask who is it that wishes that has more peace. And if it's not you, you won't be hung up on that because it's not you that wishes. It's not you that wishes it has more peace. It isn't. Yeah. So who cares?
That's good. Okay. Now I'm going to try.
Joyce, where are you living,
And then
Joyce?
be grateful. Wait a minute, and be grateful for the peace that you have. Why not? Yeah.
Where are you living, Joyce? Yeah, where are you living now?
Long story, but I'm with a community in Woodside, and I'm in
Okay.
quarantine.
They don't know it.
We'll drive down and do an intervention on you.
They don't know that they don't know that you're in their house. That's
I'm
why
in
you're
their
keeping it
RV.
low.
I can't go in their house. I'm being quarantined.
The people, I'm in a house in Woodside, they don't know I'm here. Joyce, you know, don't you ever meet people that are too hard on themselves? And if they saw
Yeah.
themselves through your eyes, you would give them a huge amount of permission just to be okay. Yeah, well, just we're doing that for you right now. Yeah. Even though that hook is familiar, you don't have to put your head on it. Yeah. It's time to get it off, and life has more things in store for you. Yeah. The beating of oneself days are over. Yeah. The beating of oneself's days are over. Yeah. I mean, you've been on that carousel. The invitation is to get off long ago. So just get off, you know. Doesn't have to be based with a ceremony, just and unceremoniously get off. Yeah.
I hear you. Really, it's a good reminder. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joyce. Love you. Nick is up from his phone. I'll unmute him. He texted me to say he would raise his hand, so I'm unmuting him now. You still there, Nick?
Where?
Maybe he's muted himself or something.
Can you hear me?
Here we go. There he goes.
Paul,
yes, we can hear you.
I got nothing. I think I had something, but far way gone. So what the hell was it? Oh, it was early on and nobody was asking any questions, and I didn't want you to stop early, so I came in here to be your bugaboo and throw some softballs up to keep you around. I like the fire that the log's already lit, and stop trying to reignite it. Just enjoy the warmth. I think that was a new one. So something hit me that like these talks are just enjoying the warmth.
Yes. Yeah.
And then what came in after that was, yes, after the talks is also enjoying the warmth. The warmth is kind of inherent. It only ever seemed to get lit, and it only ever seemed to be enjoyed.
Yeah, I feel like you know, all the evidence that was necessary has already been in. Yeah. You don't have to wait in the courtroom for the verdict. All your transgressions have been annulled. Move on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for the warmth, Nick.
Yeah.
And we've got Pat that's in chat asking to ask a question.
Pat in chat?
To Pat.
I'm here in Vancouver, Canada.
Oh.
And really grateful for the opportunity to participate with all of you. And Paul, I've been listening to you for years, since I first heard you on the Buddha at the gas pump interview. And
Wow. A while ago.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you and your message. And I know you don't use the word healing, but I actually feel like it's a healing message. So I feel like the body is really the sticking point, because it's somewhat easier to see thoughts as just being fleeting and passing, and emotions, they come and go, and you know, but the body seems to be this like solid, continuous, never fleeting, never going, you know, it's so, but I understand, and the way I I understand your point. I'm really glad that I heard what you said tonight. So I sort of feel like, just like H2O has different properties. So H2O can be like water vapor, but it can also be solid as ice, but it's really the same substance. So I sort of feel like the body is just like the solid state of the solid manifestation of the mental state. And so I love your idea of just like, oh, just so much pressure on the body and just putting importance on the body. It's more than the body can handle. I so appreciate that. And I really am so intrigued by the placebo effect. And there's actually, there's something called the nocebo effect, which is the opposite, where if someone's led to believe something negative, their body will manifest that from the and so I feel like, even though you don't put emphasis on it, I myself I'm not going to say, oh, Paul, I've had a physical healing, but I do feel like your traveling lighter message really translates into some relief in the body and all its psychosomatic manifestations, you know?
Yeah, because see, it's being used. It's almost been enslaved to represent something that it's not equipped to play that role. Yeah. Right. It's not equipped to be the center of the universe. It's not equipped to be an object that's thought about that much. It really isn't. It doesn't go well. Yeah. And look at what happens. All of the things that are being produced by this overbearing weight put on the poor body.
Right.
Yeah. Of being you and having all the sins and all the omissions and all the committed things, all you representing it. And also from the Course's view, the representation of guilt for separating from the that which it was never separated. It's just an imaginary feeling that you did something to separate from God. And the body is used as a form of something to be punished and shit like that. Yeah, it's insane.
I know, the body is just innocent, right?
Yeah, I would say it's neutral. It doesn't have an opinion. That's for sure. I mean, it has preferences. It'd rather sit in a warm seat than a cold seat.
But when you think about how so much disease is like stress related, so people seemingly suffer, and when you seemingly suffer, it feels like you're fucking suffering, right? Whether it's heart disease or
also the constant inflammation, which is agitation. Yes.
Right. Anxiety.
The inflammation of the body is really, I would say, it's like a picturing of the constant agitation the mental state is in, really.
So
it's whipping up. It's like the ember is never let to go out. It's constantly, and so there's inflammation, and of course that's the cause of a lot of. And then again, the antihistamines is causing more problems because of the overreaction of the autoimmune system, all because you've been taken to be something that you're not. It's all crazy. Oh, for sure.
Oh, I just want to again say, like, I do feel, even though you don't use the word healing, I feel like your message is healing for the body, the action figure, just because there's such a fresh and perspective on it. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, that's an aspect of traveling lighter here.
Yeah.
Traveling lighter is the body's left to its own devices, and it has a certain, and a lot of things, well, I'm going to go off on opinions here, but in this world, we give a lot of name to a lot of things. Yeah, we name things, and that gives them a power. And then there's a lot of overdiagnosis. I mean, there's tons of possibilities that would come and go if you weren't constantly looking to fucking name something. Yes, my view, seriously. So this message where the value of the message is here. not in awareness. Awareness doesn't need to be aware of itself. It is, but where awareness doesn't seem to be aware of, it's valuable. So the message is valuable here. That's why our whole presentation isn't enlightenment or nirvana, it's traveling lighter, really. That's the whole point. So what happens is something is allowed to do for the body what the body couldn't do. Yeah, because of the mental fucking preoccupation. So something, you know, when this was seen as me, it was like an urban renewal project. Yes, constant investigation, suspicion, surveillance. And when all of that surveillance was lifted, when I saw I'm not that, it was the best fucking day for the body, completely.
Right. You don't have to be.
It was like hallelujah that the body.
You don't have to be hyper vigilant.
Hallelujah.
Right?
What?
You don't have to be hyper vigilant all the time.
Oh no, that's just obsession with self. And the idea of a placebo should give you a strong indication that this is dreaming. Obviously, you know what I mean. That you can get the same results that a pill would give you with sugar pill, because it ain't the pill. Yes, exactly. This is dreaming. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, seriously, I don't know how they can step over these obvious indications of the reality of this place. How do they fucking talk around the idea of a placebo? Yeah, placebos work just as a higher percentage of working than the pill does. Give me a break. What does that imply? That this isn't a real place. We're giving it all the meaning it has.
Exactly.
What is it? See, these statements are meant to create to afford a leap. It's not just a statement. What does a placebo indicate? There's something up going here. Yeah. In a real place, a placebo would have no real effect. Yeah, because there's nothing. But it isn't a real place. This is dreaming. And that which is dreaming, if it believes sufficiently, it can make fucking wine out of water. It can do whatever. Yeah, because there's no distinction between wine or water. They're both empty. They've been given meaning. Yeah, by what? By some divine thing. What is that but us?
Yeah.
We're never going to observe that we're dreaming. We're in the activity of dreaming.
Wow.
There's no break until this thing ends, seemingly, as the body. There's not a moment you're not dreaming here. It's such a state of our being. It doesn't exert. It's not sweating. There's no effort in it. It's not trying to dream. It's dreaming. It's imagining. It's projecting. Yeah, and then it's sitting here and watching it. Yeah.
I say to people, if we were at the movies together and something went wrong with the movie, we wouldn't expect the projectionist to come down with a ladder and prop it against the screen and try to fix the picture. We'd be saying, fix the projector, right?
Yeah, yes, yes.
You know, fix the projector.
Or maybe when you take the break in the movie, you'll see you're the movie watching a movie. It's true. Yeah. There's a great one that Ramana would say. He said, you know, a lot of people get to this point. They're sitting in a theater and they're seeing the unreality of everything, but there's an assumed reality given to them sitting in the theater. The dreaming is, you're always in the dreaming. You appearing as the dreamt is never appearing outside the dreaming. Yes? Yes. That's the beauty of it. So there's always an assumption, I am the observer or the witness. No, that's the dreaming. There's no, this is not going to transcend the dreaming. This is in and of the dreaming. What can be perceived is of the dreaming. Yeah? So what can be perceived cannot be perceiving. What can be perceived cannot be the dreaming. This is the dreamt.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, thank you, honey. And yeah.
Yeah, thank you both. That was like a breath of fresh air to the idea of healing. It was wonderful. Anybody else want to raise their hand?
8:30.
We can go soon, eh?
I see no other hands.
Mary, easy, Mary. Remember, let's not take ourselves too seriously. Yeah? All right, good. Let me see her. Hey, honey, what's Bana? Bonnie? Yes?
Hey,
Nice
it's
to
Bonnie.
see you.
Like
Bonnie.
B-O-N-N-I-E. How's it going?
Good, good. I just want to say hello to everyone. I think we're going to end up, unless there's another question. Kathy down here, nice to see you. Kathy.
Hi, Paul. Thanks for having
Hey.
us. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me. George, nice to see you. Nico, I don't want to disturb you. You look very happy. Just chill out. Chilling.
Paul, this is Tom.
Drew, where's Tom?
He's on the
I'm
phone.
the phone guy. You know, I just look like a phone. I can't raise my hand.
Oh.
But, anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And thanks to all the people who've had questions, probably questions that I might come up with at some point. But I'm new to this, and I'm very interested.
Well, great, man. Just back, we have another one on Saturday at 1:30 Pacific, and we have one on recovery tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, Tuesday 10:30 a.m. And we're going to continue until we don't. So you're more than welcome to join us. Every meeting has a link on the website, zenbitslap.com. Just hit the link; it'll tell you how to get on.
Yeah, I'm off the grid, so I do have a flip phone that I keep right next to my Atari and my Pong game. Yeah, so is it the same meeting number if I call in?
This one has the same meeting number, yeah.
Yeah, Wednesday, Saturday.
Okay, so what time on Thursday? I'm sorry to take your time, but...
No, Thursday's a different meeting number. Thursday's different. Tuesday and Thursday are 12-step reflections. Do you want to just text me, Tom? So you have my number? Or call me?
I missed that.
Tom has my number, so we can take care of this offline.
All right, great.
Oh, okay, that'd be good. I'll call you.
Okay.
All right, we'll see you soon. Or we won't see you soon.
All right, thank you so much. All right, bye-bye. Good night.
Nice to see you, Fritz. Nice to see you, Richard. Styling with the hat, overlooking Jupiter, I think. I don't know. Joyce has switched positions. The people must have come home. She's now in the closet. Stacy.
Hey, Paul.
Hey,
Man.
the nice family. I'm so happy. I've known you guys for quite a while. Quite good to see you. Yeah. Looking forward to going back to LA soon.
Right on.
Yep.
When you get here.
Fritz, nice to see you. Celia, Izzy, I love your little artwork, Izzy. Nice to see you. We're going to talk to you afterwards, Izzy. We got Luca. Luca, don't jump. What is that? There's a giant animal there. Forget it. All right, we have Chantal. Chantal, is that how to say it? Nice to see you. Joyce again. Brahmi. Brahmi, the background. Yeah. I got some art I can sell you. It'd be nice.
It's my wall. I'm in a little tiny place in India, so that's what we get.
Oh, it's a nice wall. Yeah, it's nice. Thanks for visiting us from India.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for all you're giving us, Paul. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure. Yeah, there's plenty of that where it comes from. Tons. Infinite reservoir. Randy, you're actually in a room. That's pretty good. Donna,
Hey,
Yeah.
Paul.
George?
Hey, hey, Paul.